One of the most special things that I have created. I cannot believe that I am in this point. I am truly obsessed with how beautiful it takes so long to create something like this, to appreciate how much work it is. I have spent so much time knitting this project that I just didn't want to let it go. I've decided that I want to create a series of how I actually created this 1940s cardigan. I also want you to enjoy the process of creating this cardigan with me. The knitting itself and the assembly took me 113 hours. Another reason why I wanted to create a series instead of a whole project in one go is because I have asked my dad how long it actually takes me to create something like this. At first he said 10 hours. I was like, okay, try again. And then he said 40 hours. I'm like, you can get another go. And then he said 80. And I told him 113 hours. Right at the beginning when he said 10, I was like, this is not a fast fashion project. This is something that a person puts their soul into, their whole creativity into. This is just not something that you do in a day. It is impossible. Required a lot of thought and also recalculation just because I wanted to create something that would fit me perfectly. With that, we are starting the first phase of this project, a design choice. My place to research and find some patterns is through one of my favorite books. You already know this book, you already love this book, and it is Timelessly Knitwear. In this book, I have found a perfect pattern for my new project. It is called Favorite 40s Cardigan. I was thinking, okay, I want to make short sleeves. And then I started thinking, I don't really know what to wear it with. I have to wear something underneath. It's going to be itchy because I'm going to be making it out of wool. Of course, as a fiber artist, I have quite a big collection of yarn. And one of the projects that I actually had a lot of yarn left over is a 1940s Farrell waistcoat. For some reason, I ended up with too much yarn. Here they are. These are the yarns. There's more. I have a green, I have pink, I have blue, I have white. So I have loads of this yarn. What should I do with it? Where am I gonna incorporate it? What, like a skein, a 2, a 3? What would be the perfect project is colorwok project. I haven't been knitting since March, so it's been a very long time. And I didn't really want to start something that would be a very complex Farrell project again. So now that I thought about the colors that I might incorporate into my colorwok, the perfect pattern is already there. I also needed to choose a background color. What would work with something like this? Pink, blue, maybe white, lighter green. Well, I don't even know. What would be the best color? What is my favorite color? Says a person that wears everything green. Of course it's gonna be green yarn. I found some green yarn in my stash. I had some leftover from another project of mine that I used like tiny little bit, like I don't know, 5 grams of this yarn for a juniper jacket. This project was more about using things that I already have. So every single yarn that I used for this project, I already had it. I just needed to buy additional from this one. That means I did use it for my stash. I did a very good thing there. Now that I have decided all the colors, I wanted to actually understand whether all of these colors are gonna work together, because I have the white, I have the green, and I have another green, and usually when you have the same colors, they might not really work. So I wanted to rework the colorwork chart, and you already know how to do it. I have previously done it with my 1940s Fair Isle waistcoat. I just did the same method in Procreate or any drawing apps that you have. I reworked the color work that came with the pattern. Then I just added the colors that I was thinking were pretty good. Because it was a flower pattern, it was very easy to choose the colors because I already had the pinks and I had the blues and I had the greens. It was most logical to use green for the stems and the leaves, colors such as blue and pink for the flowers themselves. And I feel like it just worked so well. I don't really know a lot of flowers that have blue in them, but there are a couple. And it was just interesting, like why not use the bright pinks that I didn't really use as much in my 1940s Fair Isle waistcoat? I felt like using pink in this project as one of the main colors was such an interesting thing because it would pop so well, and it did pop so well with the darker background and then brighter colors. It was just out there. Now that I have decided what kind of colors that I'm going to be using for this project, it was now time to rework cardigan itself, because unfortunately the size of this cardigan, they were not my size. This was actually my first time reworking the pattern. I was very much doubting my calculation skills. You know what? This scares me very much, so I need to do it. And I did. It does fit me like a glove. You kind of want it fit, especially if it comes for the 1940s, 1950s. Cardigans would fit them so good. I really wanted that snatched waist. And so I had to do some changes. I had to calculate a lot, and I feel like I did a very good job. I was using a different gauge because this yarn was different to the recommended yarn, unfortunately. First steps for knitting is making a swatch. Mine shows it's either 29 stitches per 10 centimeters or 30 stitches per 10 centimeters, which still works. We're gonna continue this project in a bit of an exciting turn. I've decided to also, instead of knitting it in like separate pieces, I've decided to knit the whole thing together because I wanted to save time, just didn't want to assemble it. So I just had to do more calculations. It probably took me like 150 hours altogether with the calculations, with the reworking, with just sometimes knitting without the timer. About 150. That's a lot of time. The fast fashion could never. I have started knitting 40's favorite cardigan from my favorite book, Timeless Tyrolean Knitwear. Not sure whether I want to go with shorter or longer sleeves, we'll see how I feel. But for now, this is the amount that I have done. So I am currently doing the ribbing, also using a totally different method to the ribbing that I would usually do. This is a different type of ribbing. I really wanted to find a method to make my ribbing look better. Now, what do I mean by look better? This is my juniper jacket that I have knit like a year ago, and as you can see here, the ribbing is not very good looking. Knit stitches just don't look very good. The rib is just too loose. Let's compare this to what I'm knitting right now. But you can see that the knit stitches are like very close together, and you don't even realize that this is not just a stockinette stitch, but this is a rib stitch. Whereas here, you can see everything. You can see the purl stitches and you can see the knit stitches, but here it looks like a stockinette, like this one. This method is called combination ribbing. I totally forgot to say that this is a third day of knitting. I started on a 13th of September and today is 15th of September. I have been knitting this one for an hour, 41 minutes. It cost me an hour to just cast on, and knitting is a lot slower right at the beginning, and then it gets a bit faster because I pick up the pace. You can see that this yarn on this juniper jacket is also this yarn that I'm using. I had like less than one ball left, so I decided I want to finish that one ball, and I really loved it, and I really love the softness of it, and plus it's a perfect color, so I went with this tuya again that I also used in my juniper jacket, which is a very cool knot. If you know, you know. And I couldn't go faster because if I go faster, I had to redo some things. And I did. So, you know, you win in one area and you lose in another. And that's totally fine. It took me so long to create this. It's such a special project, and I feel like in the world where everything is just going so fast, sometimes you want to take time to create something special and meaningful. There when it's cold and you're gonna remember the time that you spend with it and just appreciate the fact that, yeah, it took me so long and it's so beautiful and it's decorated and embroidered and there's color work, and I even used yarn from my stash. Like, it is so special. The next video is going to be about the body of the cardigan, and yeah, it's very exciting. So, but I hope you like this video, and if you want to see more, look out for this series next week because it is going to be interesting. I just don't want to be a part of a, how to say it nicely, a very fast working machine. I am not a machine. I am a human being. So for me, For me, this project is like a baby. For me, this project is so special. I just don't want to let it go. So I hope you stick around with me, and I'll see you in my next one. By the way, a secret. So basically, the reason why I decided to create this mini series is because I ended up with 6.5 hours worth of footage. Do you want to see a whole 6.5 hours? I totally can give you all of it, but it's gonna be a bit boring in some parts. So that's why I decided to kind of separate them into little pieces to make sense, like the design, body of the cardigan, then the sleeve island or the sleeve fish, the fish that are sleeves, then the assembly, embroidering, finalized steps, blocking everything, and finally the reveal. So I hope you can stick around and see everything because it is very exciting, and I do say a lot of interesting things, and I really want it out there. I haven't been knitting in a while, so it's just, I don't want to let it go. I just don't want to post one video and be like, yep, that's it from this project. Let's move on to the next one. No, I don't want to. What do you mean? I put so much love into it. I did. Okay, I'm gonna cry right now. Okay, we're not crying. It would really mean to me a lot. Okay, next one.